So, in the series that I've been doing on all the books that I've published, with book number 7, I want to take a slightly different approach. I'd like to read you a series of individual pieces in a series of videos instead of, telling you all about the book and then reading, 2 or 3 poems from the book or whatever. And one of the reasons for that is that book number 7 in my oeuvre, a word I've never been able to, or never known how to pronounce, is Letters to the One-Armed Poet. A memoir of friendship, loss, and butternut squash ravioli. This was a memoir that I wrote for my good, dear friend, Jim Chastain, who we lost to cancer quite a number of years ago. Some of you might remember him. He was a wonderful poet, an Oklahoma poet. He was a dear friend, and we traveled around a lot together, and he and I performed. And and so what this is that this isn't necessarily, the story of his health journey. This is the story of our journey together through that difficult time in his life. And I wrote it as a series of letters to him. Some of the letters are written before he passed away, and then quite a few of the letters are written after he passed away. And so I want to begin at the front of the book. This is the very second letter in the book, but it's the letter that begins the chapter at the beginning of the book, the chapter called Before. And this chapter begins with a quote from William James. "The great use of life is to spend it for something that will outlast it." And so I want to read this opening letter for this chapter here and kind of tell you the story. It kind of tells the story of how Jim and I met and where all of this began. So the first letter here is The Collision. "We knew about each other for a long time, but it took years and some amount of calamity for us to finally meet. You'd been ordained, yet considered yourself an accidental deacon in my dad's church, a church passing through the lower intestine of Southern Baptistism to Mahudness at the time. The problem? My dad read books, biographies, novels, and other things along with the Bible, and he was known to call for calm, thoughtful consideration of theological disputes in committee meetings and other occasions of pious tumult. So it goes without question that he was labeled a heretic by the convention. And I was simply trying to recover from the funk of scrutiny and expectation that comes with having been a preacher's kid all my life. But somewhere around our mid-30s, you were diagnosed with a rare form of cancer. Things changed. Okay, the Earth's axis shifted for you. Yet still, this was not the catalyst for our friendship. A couple of years before, I'd gone through a divorce and was doing my pitiful best to adapt to the amputated lifestyle of single fatherhood. And although I'd written songs since my teens and had already experimented with poetry, I began to feel the urge to be a writer. Your health crisis caused a strikingly similar change in you right about the same time. And that's when, for some reason I cannot recall, we met for coffee at the Red Cup in Oklahoma City. Sometimes the cosmos knows when it's time for two people to collide, and so it makes the necessary arrangements since no one else will. We needed each other. And the reason was simple, if not a bit worrisome. We were both in the process of coming out of the closet as poets. And here in the hubcap of the Great Plains, where politicians hold an annual defunding of the arts gala, and we bleed Republican red at every football game and tent revival in every county, this was no laughing matter. So, that's the opening letter of that book. And like I said at the beginning, what I want to do with this book is I want to take you on a little bit more of a journey through this one, because this is a book that is still very meaningful to me. I'm rereading it at the moment for the first time in a long time. And I have to be honest, it's surprising me all along the way. So I'll be back with another video soon and read you the next letter that I decide on from this book. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you soon for the next poem. By the way, I'll close with this. Thank you for your support here on Patreon. It means a lot. I very much appreciate it. So keep reading poetry, folks. It's a little bit of sanity in a world gone completely mad.